What is joy? You might hear me talk a lot about joy and about gozo, and for me personally, it means that I'm able to overcome whatever fear, anxiety, whatever comes my way to truly live a life of gratitude and of happiness. But what does it mean to become a person of joy? And how do you know that you've become one? And what are the characteristics to be a person who can be content no matter what the outcome of life is? The textbook definition of joy is resistance to the forces of despair. It's a combination of gratitude and contentment. It's seeing a piece of artwork and enjoying it. It's seeing a beautiful baby and being able to laugh. It's being able to contemplate life and truly enjoy everything that we see around us. Joy is a combination of contentment in our soul and gratitude for the things around us. Maybe if you are a small business owner, you will be able to not let the difficulties in the economy or with staff to get you down. Maybe you're a church leader, a person of faith that is really seeking to change the world. You know, if you focus on having joy in your life, you will not let people or circumstances or even your own personal, maybe past, get you off track. And so I'm convinced that when we focus on these three characteristics, you will become a person of joy and you will be able to live the dreams and the purposes that God has given you and to truly experience what I like to call gozo. So what are those three characteristics? The first one is to live a life of adventure. And really I would say is for many of us is to rediscover that adventure. You know, adventure is being able to go to the top of the mountain. Adventure is being able to remember that time when you made that shot at the end of the basketball game. Adventure is that very dream that you had when you were a young person to maybe graduate from one of the best schools in the nation. That is what happens when we live a life of adventure. We're dreaming, we're envisioning what our lives could be like. But I find that most people have lost that sense of adventure. Life and growing up and living in a world with economic and financial hurts many times take away that sense of adventure. And I meet so many people that tell me, I do not know what my adventure is. I do not know what my dream is. I'm convinced that when we rediscover adventure, when we once again go back to what our childhood dreams were, those moments of complete awe, of complete joy, that we will truly be on our way to become a person of joy. But I find that the second characteristic is maybe the most crucial, and that is to be able to find grace amidst crisis. You know, crisis is all around us. Crisis is something that many people try to hide from, but it's something that only those that are strong and courageous can truly overcome. But how do you overcome crisis? I'm convinced that it's when we find the grace in the middle of the crisis. And what does that mean? What I mean by finding grace is that you're able to see the good even amidst the bad. When you're able to really focus on something bigger than yourself, when you're truly able to surrender whatever situation you're going through in your marriage, in your business, in your artistic endeavors, and to say, God, I need your help. You're the one that's going to be able to help me get through the situation. You're the one that is going to give me perspective. It is only when I surrender and I seek your face that I will be able to truly find grace. Grace to me means being able to say, if not for the goodness of God, I do not know if I would have made it. That's what grace is being able to find the good in the middle of whatever circumstance we find ourselves in. And the last one is, I think, also just as important, and that is to be able to realize who do you love, or maybe we can say to discover what you love. I find that many people, you know, when they go through situations that are tough, when they go through those crises, they lose their sense of love. They become very self-focused. They become people that are very selfish and maybe even bitter. Have you ever met those kinds of people? Maybe even in your own family, in your own workplace, maybe people that you go to school with, that they have hit bottom but are not able to bounce back up. When we live a life of joy and when we're able to find grace amidst a crisis, you know what happens is love is birthed in our hearts. We discover our cause. We discover what it is that we were created to do. That love is really a verb, it's an action. that we are put on this earth to do something for those that are in pain, to do something for the least of these, to do something for those people that are in need. That when we focus on those that are in worse situations than we are, we truly find what joy really means. It is not enough to just simply have a good marriage or have a successful business or to have our bodies be in the best shape of our lives. That true joy comes when we focus on helping other people. And that is why so many nonprofit leaders will call me, or many artists will just hang out and have some coffee just to say, Trig, I want to have joy. I don't want to just be about me. I have a cause, but I have some things that I need to work out. And so there's nothing more, to me, more exciting than to be able to have those cups of coffee and to be able to get on the phone and just talk to someone who's in the middle of an anxiety bout, or maybe they're having a panic attack, or maybe they've simply just lost their way. Maybe their business is struggling. Maybe their marriage is going through a situation that they can't overcome. Maybe it's their son or their daughter who is not doing well in school or who's dealing with some sort of addiction. There's nothing more powerful for me than to be able to bring perspective. And that is what I've dedicated my whole life to, through training and through all of my own just learning and seeking God and being able to hang out with some amazing mentors. All the articles that I write, all the blog posts, all these videos, my desire is to be able to give you the same perspective that many want to have, that I want to have joy, to have contentment no matter the situation. Probably my best example of this kind of person is my grandmother, my abuelita, who raised me since I was a little boy. I remember my grandma just being in her room right here in this very home where I'm recording this video, just laughing, just smiling, just watching TV, and I would remember her watching her novelas and watching some of her favorite programs at night, just with the biggest smile on her face. And it would always shock me. I would say, how can this woman be so happy? How can she find contentment? Because here's the reality. My grandmother lived very far from her husband. She lived a life cleaning homes her whole life. She had to raise kids on her own. She had to endure pain in her knees. She had to endure physical problems. She had to endure bouts with loneliness and with being far from the people that she loved. She had to endure living in a one-bedroom apartment for most of her life and dying with $50 in a Bank of America account. But you know, that did not matter to her. She had an internal sense of contentment that was rooted in her childhood adventure. You know what her adventure was? Was to make dresses for dolls. And you know, even to the last days of her life, I loved hearing her sewing machine in her room where she was making clothes for even my own children. My grandmother also was able to overcome all of these crises in her life and to find the grace in her life and to find God, first by having a personal relationship with Jesus, second by being able to worship. There was nothing more beautiful to me than to hear her. After the soap operas would be over, she would put on her worship music and she would sing songs of God, Cuán grande es Él, and be able to say how great thou art to God. And to really live a life of love. My grandma would help me so much. She basically helped me raise my own kids. She was such a servant at her church. She helped helping people, mentoring her own kids, guiding them to the very last day of her life. And maybe you have someone in your life that's been an amazing mentor that you want to be like, and you say, I want to be like that person. Maybe it's someone in the Bible. Maybe it's your own mom or dad. You also want to be that way, but maybe you've lost your way. That is my desire, is to be able to be a joy coach in your life, to be someone who is living a life of gozo and helping you live a life of joy no matter your fear, no matter those obstacles, no matter the circumstances that are maybe wanting to block that joy in your life. Maybe you're asking yourself, can I really become a person of joy? I've dealt with so much. I want to say, yes, you can. You can become a person that is content no matter how much money you make, no matter how your body looks, no matter where your business is at, no matter how big or how small your church is. You can become a person of joy if you apply yourself to adventure, to discovering the grace of God in the middle of your crisis, to be able to focus on who and what it is that you love. I hope this helps you understand a little bit more about what I do, what my passion is, and most of all, it gives you maybe even some questions to consider. Are you living a life of joy? Do you find yourself content right now? Or are you someone who's lost your way? It's my desire to be able to help you, no matter where you're at, to find and to discover your adventure, and to be able to live a life of grace, no matter your crisis, and most of all, to be able to focus on who do you love, and that you'll be able to overcome whatever obstacles, so that once you've discovered who your cause is and what you love, that you won't allow life and situations to distract you and to get you off track. Thanks so much for watching. I am so proud of you for having the courage to stand for joy, to stand for contentment, and to use joy as that weapon against the forces of despair. Have a great rest of this day, and I will see you next time. Hey, this is Trig. Did you like this episode? There are 3 things that you can do to make sure that you stay on track with Gozo Living and with this message of joy. First, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe so that you can every week get a notification so that you know when these videos are ready for you to enjoy. Second, go to my website and sign up for the free article that I wrote for Leadership Journal called High Anxiety, How Anxiety No Longer Defines Me. And then third, also on my website, sign up to get my free newsletter that comes out every week that has funny jokes to give us joy, that has some of the content on conferences and articles that I'm writing that are not in this channel. You can click on the subscribe button right here on this video. Go to my website, check it out. Most of all, I am so proud of you. I am with you. I am cheering you on. I am thankful for what you're doing to live a life of joy, adventure, overcoming crisis, and discovering who you love. Thanks so much for watching. Your Gozo friend. I will see you next time.